There it is. All right. Let me get the topic feed on here and we'll get rocking and rolling. Welcome to the HW pre-show.
Oh, yeah.
We'll let some of you fine folks pile in.
Folk heroes.
We'll get started tonight. Oh, not the view we need.
Oh.
We'll get our topics posted up here for you. While you guys pile in, you can see what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Hey.
There we go. That looks better than last week's. All right. Welcome. People piling in. We got 4 days off between games, so it's a little bit of a different vibe. And no one's starting any player feuds this week.
It's been nice and quiet for a change.
Yeah, so we actually had to dig for some topics, and it seems like the Flyers played so long ago that any emotion that I had during those games, I had to kind of dig it all back up, putting the topic list together here. But there's some good stuff. A lot of AHL stuff we could get to. I didn't put the trade on there.
That's right.
Phantoms are playing really good. Shame we don't do a Phantoms podcast. 9-4-1-1.
Somebody should, right?
Once Martone joins the team, that's an interesting conversation. Is that a phone? Is this a phone next to JR's name here in the chat? It's not showing up.
It looks like YouTube to me.
JR, where are you watching the show tonight? You watching on your phone, TV, tablet, laptop? Just curious. I see a little icon next to your name in the chat there.
Maybe it's YouTube on his phone.
Yeah. All right. We'll get started here, ladies and gentlemen. It's 8:17 phone on YouTube. Okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah. That's how I watch it.
All right, a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Owen Tippett, the Zegras line, the duality of Owen Tippett, the good and the bad. Flyers go 1-1-1 last week. Should they call up Bump and Kolosov? Are they ready? And we're going to look ahead to next week as the Flyers finally get started, or they finally hit the ice again Thursday night. So once I find the opening to get the show going, we're going to get started. Here we go. What's up, you beauties? Welcome to HW Hockey Season 8, Episode 19. As you can see there on your screen, I'm Jim, joined as always by Jack. If you're listening make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And if you're watching, make sure you're watching us on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Do us a favor and like the show. We have a goal of 50 likes for the episode. So if we can get the 50 likes, we'll do something cool. All right, Jack, let's kick this off. Let's not wait. We got an hour show, a lot to talk about tonight. Flyers go 1-1-1 last week. I think you even predicted that if we go back and listen to the show from last week. They fall to Edmonton in overtime. A lot to get to in that game. They then take on St. Louis, which I think we both agreed was the game that they should have won last week. They needed to win. And then, as predicted, they got their asses handed to them at Dallas on the second night of a back-to-back. So, let's kind of ease into things here because the title of the episode is The Duality of Owen Tippett, who is sort of a controversial player. He's become that guy, the lightning rod kind of guy. If he does something well, it's almost like people hate to point it out. If he does something wrong, he's the easy guy to jump on. So I want to talk a lot about Tippett while we talk about this Edmonton Oilers game. I think Edmonton was up for most of the game, 1-0. Flyers tied it up. I think Michkov scored, actually. I think we called Michkov scoring. And then late in the game, and this was regulation, I think, they scored. And I want to get your thoughts on this. The league interrupted, not the referees, not Edmonton. The league paused the game because the league saw an offsides, which to me is a little bush league. Like, why do you even need referees if you got Big Brother watching every game, right? It just so happened to be that Owen Tippett was the player that came in offsides. The Flyers now have back-to-back games where somebody beat a guy in the zone in a crucial situation. The Flyers just happen to score on this shift, and it just happens to be Owen Tippett. So, long story short, Flyers lose in overtime. If you take Edmonton to overtime, there's a good chance you're going to lose. But let's get to the big thing here. Owen Tippett, the offsides. When you saw it happen, what were your thoughts? I know I'm asking you to dig up emotions from a week ago, but let's hear it.
I'll be honest, I was pretty pissed off. There's many times we've seen a player go offside and it kill a goal. And a lot of times it's some of the player bringing the puck in, makes a move or dangles a little bit and they throw somebody off. With Tippett, there was just no reason to go offside. It wasn't like a big part of the play or the goal. He just went in early because he just couldn't hold it, I guess. I don't know why. It was a pretty low IQ move, literally cost them the game. And for a guy who's constantly on the hot seat, you just gave everybody another reason to like just crap all over you. And it was just one of those, like, seriously? Like, come on. And in overtime, you see when the Edmonton scores, they were almost offside, but of course, they were just happened to be onside. But you could see there was a play where like an Oiler like hung his foot back to make sure he hung onside. It's like, Tippett, we weren't even asking you to do any of that crazy stuff. Just you were standing at the line. It was not, you weren't like racing in. Like it just was so dominant for no reason. It literally cost them the game, and it makes you go like, when they look back at Tippett, and it's like, man, this guy's got all the skills and the size and the speed, and can't just can't put it together. That's most likely because it's up here, and that's a play right there that shows you that he just wasn't thinking. And yeah, it cost them the game.
Yeah, I think that's the unfortunate part, because if there wasn't a goal scored, you didn't like that Tippett comment up there while we're talking about Tippett?
Oh, I thought did I put that up there? I don't remember. Hold on, let me go back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the first part of that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So what I thought was, if there wasn't a goal scored directly after that, nobody would remember the play. Because you see that happen 3, 4, 5 times a game. The guy goes in offsides. Like, how many times is there offsides in the game? It just so happened, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying with the Michkov-Couturier thing. If it was Michkov that went in offsides, would there have been the uproar?
Yeah, I don't think it would have been as bad, but I think there's people that would have been like, look, guys, like, I know he needs to get more minutes, but he screwed up there. He did.
Yeah.
Like, but look, it goes back to what I was saying, is like, you got a guy in Tippett who's constantly a lightning rod, just making it worse for himself. Mm-hmm. So it kind of falls into that where Michkov's the other way. He's got people dying, putting themselves on the sword for him. So it's a little different, and you're right. It happens a lot during the game, and it doesn't even get called because there's a goal not scored, or, the play just continues, and that's that. The only other thing I didn't comment on was the Toronto thing. And is that a rule or something, because it was late in the game or something, or it just so happened they had that TV on and called down? Because I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I really don't know, because it wasn't like it was a bang bang play. Like as we're talking, I'm wondering, like, do they do that for every goal? Do they review the entrance into the zone to see if there's an offsides for every goal, or maybe, like you said, since it was under 2 minutes or something like that?
That's more of a football thing. What irks me is, what's the point of the challenge then if the league's going to do everything?
What's the point of referees?
Right?
Just have the league watch every game and buzz in. Like,
what irks me,
that's a trip back there.
What irks me is I find it very hard to believe that the league is watching every single game, every single night, the exact amount appropriate to each game, which is why you have referees, which is why you have a coach's challenge, for them to see something, go, oh, call into that random game, and that Bush League is like an understatement. That's like, I don't know the rules exactly, but it feels very like, I know you want to get everything right, but there's no way you're watching every single game that closely, every single play that closely, that you're intervening in these games. Because if you were, what do you need referees for? What do you need a coach's challenge for? So there's definitely some head scratching crap going on right there. And I don't like that. It just makes the league look bad, which for some reason they like doing lately.
And if I'm a player, like, the league is showing you right there, like, hey, these guys miss. They don't always get everything right. So now I have an argument. If something doesn't go my way, it's like, hey, you guys don't know what the hell you're watching anyways.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to me, I was angry in the moment, wasn't even thinking about it. I just assumed that they challenged it. And then the challenge came back, and it was not. So I found out later that like Toronto just did them a favor. Like, shouldn't that be on the opposing coach to review it and challenge it? Should have nothing to do with Toronto. They should go to Toronto if they have to.
Yeah,
but
the
they
league
should not
be allowed to intervene.
They shouldn't be coming to them. Like, that's it just hurts the integrity of the game, because it's like, why are they doing this? Like,
let Edmonton challenge.
It's up to them. It's part of the strategy. It's part of being a good coach and a good video team. Like that's part of the game. So now we just do whatever we want. Like, it's so dumb. Like, this league irks the piss out of me sometimes, man.
No, that's a good point. That's a good. If Toronto like, it's like if you see something, it's okay. Like, this happened during the game. We have referees there to call this. They didn't call it. We have challenges in place. If Edmonton wants to challenge, they can challenge.
Stupid.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree. It was weird to me. It seemed a little Bush League. Like, when does that ever happen for the Flyers, where the league calls in, steps in? No. Got to take that goal back. There's an offsides there that the referee missed, and apparently everybody else.
Man, we got you, Edmonton. We know you're trying to keep Mishko, or you're trying to keep McDavid there.
Yeah, it could be.
It's just I shouldn't think that way, but when I see such obvious dumb crap, it's like, here's a funny one from Vegas. All the betting coming out with the mafia in certain sports. Yeah. Hey, maybe.
Do you remember? Damn, I'm not going to be able to remember their names, but one of they were Belarusian, I think. Their last names began with a K. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us out here. That one of them played for Montreal, and I think the other one played for Carolina. They were involved with the Russian mafia, and the one brother ended up getting sent back to play in the KHL. Kostitsins. Yeah, wow. That's it.
What a pull.
Kostitsins. Yeah, so I'm curious if that was going on then. I wonder if, has to somehow be going on now.
It's just odd. It's just so odd.
The Kostitsins, man. Yeah.
That's a good pull. I was like, but yeah, that is just ridiculous. But either way, the call, it's not like they got the call, called in, got the call wrong. That's on Tippett, 100%. He knows it too. It just makes you angry. So a year you're trying to win, you go to overtime, and they looked pretty decent in overtime until, unfortunately, York, who had a really good game up until that point, has a little fluff in overtime, and that's leads to a 2-0. And there's only so much Vladar can do for you.
Yeah, that was a brutal turnover. And look, so I'm going to try to stay in the middle here, because I'm a Tippett guy. I want him to succeed. The play itself, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have that much of a problem with. Like, as I said, like, it happens.
Right.
What I had an issue with, I'm surprised maybe you didn't hear it, how he sounded after the game. He kind of sounded like ho-hum, like, my bad, it happens. Like, yeah, we know. We don't want to hear that from you. We want to see that you care a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that's his demeanor, because on the bench, he seemed upset. Like, he couldn't even look at the player, like his teammates, and they were kind of patting him, and he looked upset. So it might just be the way he is, because that, you go back to his exit interview, and he's very nonchalant about his horrible season, which he thought was good. Maybe it wasn't horrible. Like, come on, man, you're supposed to score goals. You barely scratched 20 after a year. You almost hit 30. You know how I feel about that. So it might just be his overall demeanor.
Maybe.
Well, something to keep an eye on for sure.
I wonder if that's going to rub some people the wrong way. If that's how he
absolutely is. Of course. If he were a different style of player, like one who is like a Noah Cates style of player, or Nick Seeler, and was like that, I don't think it would as much, because they're putting their body on the line and doing all the little things and whatnot. But when you're a goal scorer and you go through some bad streaks where you're not scoring, like, it's not like he's 5 on, 5 off. Like, he's 5 on, 12 off, 4 on, 9 off, and that irks people. So everything about his game irks people. So then if you have a perceived nonchalant attitude on top of that it's not going to bode well. It's not. There are people, you're already on this hot seat, you're already a lightning rod, and then you're going to throw that into the mix. It's not going to go well.
Well, where I was going to go with that was, Tocchet doesn't come off to me as a nonchalant type of guy. He comes off as a guy that's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking. And he's a guy that seems pretty sure of himself, especially when he was on the ice. He could score and he could kick your ass. So I wonder if he's trying to bring some of that out. of Owen Tippett, I'm not sure that Owen Tippett has that kind of fire in him because you've heard Tocchet say he'd like to see more consistency. And I'm, it's kind of like, how can I say this? What was the word that you used for Tippett? Nonchalant, nonchalant. That's kind of how he came off in the interview, nonchalant. And at times during games, his play looks a little nonchalant. Like when you talk consistency, you know that he can be a beast. He has that in him. But to be in the upper echelon of the league, you need to be able to do that consistently. And if he has nonchalantness that creeps in, it comes off as lazy, comes off as you don't care, and that'll piss off a coach like Rick Tocchet, a guy like Rick Tocchet. And this kind of ties in to some of the trade stuff that we're seeing. So we're hearing a lot that Tockett's working with this guy. He's working with this guy, right? And that's all good. But if you can't, I think there's kind of a deadline, right? Because there's no trade clause thing kicks in or whatever it is.
Somebody just put it in here. I think it's July 1st.
Yeah. So if I'm Tocchet, I'm like, I got to get what I need to get out of this guy by this time, or we need to make a decision. So I don't think it's coincidence that we hear Tocchet talking about Tippett a lot. If they can't mold him into what they want him to be, and I'm not sure. Look, beginning of the season, I thought for sure, like, all right, Tockett's gonna work with Tippett. Tippett's a 40-goal guy with Tocchet. Tippett needs to be coachable, and I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. I mean, he had a massive game against St. Louis. We'll get to that in a second. So he's got it in him, which I think is the frustrating part. We'll see. That's something I'm going to be watching for as this season plays out. At first, when you try to help a guy, when you try to coach him up and you're not getting what you need out of him, maybe it starts to turn to frustration. Like, what more can I do for you kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Something to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like based on something Jordan Hall put out there that it's not at that point. They're having fun at practice, or he's trying the happy approach so far. And you know what? The system is still new. It takes up to about 30 games and whatnot. But look, this is going to be a thing all season. We know it. I like Benit's comment here. It's a modified 10 team, no trade clause. Our luck, Buffalo's definitely on that no trade list, but if it's manageable, that's better than a full no trade, but something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, all right, so that's not as big a deal as people.
No, Buffalo's on that list though, and that's the number one team I want to trade to. But yeah, so I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. Look, Shadow said earlier in the chat, he's like, look, they didn't even deserve to be in that game. They really didn't. Vladar kept them in that game, particularly in the first period. He was crazy and good in the first period. And it was Edmonton. His team's been to back-to-back Cup finals. They got a point out of it. So at the end of the day, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on just a little bit here. And Zach, thank you for that. So Zach posted in the comments here in regards to the waived off Tippett goal. Rule 37.2 says the situation room looks at goals to make sure the on-ice officials didn't miss something. They can pause the game to review a goal.
Timeout on that. I believe that. But why do we have a coach's challenge then? Shouldn't Toronto be doing that every time?
I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely something going on here. If you can review offsides to prevent a goal and you can challenge that, why can Toronto just intervene? If you challenge it and then they do that, absolutely. No problem. The whole point of the challenge is the refs miss something, no?
I don't know. I'm just going by based off what this says. It sounds like they look at every goal. I'm not sure.
And but in other games, they just wait for a challenge to come in. There's been more obvious offsides than that. Like the teams either have to challenge or nothing happens at all.
Good question. Benit says rule
Benit clears it up. It's true. Like I mean, I believe the rule. I absolutely believe the rule. But there's a big what in that. And so JR brings up, well, I thought that was true too, but I can't help but think, am I just thinking that because of football? Because we know that's how it is in football? Is that 2 minutes specifically? Like, is it, or is it a minute? Or I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see that in the rule. If whoever put that can expand upon that. I think it was Zach. I would be really curious.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks,
I mean,
Zach.
I thought maybe it's just in a playoffs or something like that, but I don't know. Definitely a first for me. And I don't know when that rule came into play, but I remember a particular play back when the Hackstall days. It was Dale Weiss did, or somebody did something, and they had a 2-goal lead. They gave up a goal. They challenged the offsides. We're all screaming, "Don't challenge it," because they're going to get another power play and get scored on. And but it was definitely within under 2 minutes. I know that for a fact. And they had to challenge it, and they lost the challenge, and they went on the power play or penalty kill rather. So if they're doing it already for free, and we don't have to take the penalty, go on the penalty kill, then why didn't they do it? It's got to. This was Hackstall times. It was probably 20. I don't know, 15, 16, 17, whenever Dale Weiss was here. Because I know Dale Weiss took one of the penalties. So I'm thinking like, well, why didn't they do it then? It's just if they catch it, that's a massive problem. If it's, this game we're watching closer than this game, like, come on, that just hurts the integrity of your game. Like, this is, I can't believe it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So the St. Louis game, the game that they had to win last week, the game that should have been just marked as a W. The Flyers actually, I think, trailed for a lot of this game. And yeah, they put a line out there who I think had success earlier in the season, a line of Zegras, Dvorak, and Tippett. And this line, I think, scored all their goals, all their points.
Yeah.
When was this game? Thursday night, Friday night?
Friday
night.
Yeah. Yeah, and they came out gangbusters. It was great. I just love whenever Zegras gets on the score sheet. I believe he had 2 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
I think Andre had 2 assists, but mainly Tippett had a goal and 3 assists. 4.9 for him. Seeing the 3 assists was shocking, but he gets back on the score sheet. The only issue with that game, again, not a good Erson game. Erson with another, I don't want to say poor performance, but certainly not a good performance. Gives up 5 goals, but it looked good to shootout. But here we are in a shootout again. And against a team that they definitely needed to win that game. They should have won that game in regulation, like 5-2, 5-3, honestly. And, whatever. I don't care about the point that St. Louis gets. They get the point. Just had to do a little bit extra to do so. And that kind of rolls into the next night. Had a little bit extra in a game they definitely needed to win. Needed all the rest they could get to go play the Dallas Stars. And that just didn't go so well.
You want to move on to the Dallas game, or you want to talk more about the Blues game?
The only point I was trying to make was the little extra effort had to be used in the Blues game where it probably shouldn't have been. And they needed all the rest they could get because who they had to play the next night. But yeah, ultimately, Zegras, Tippett, Andre, I forget who else got on the score sheet, looked great. Erson did not. It was a good response game for how things went in Edmonton.
Sam Erson, he faced 17 shots, gave up 5 goals. And I know, for whatever reason, in a lot of his games, he just gives up like weird goals. But at some point, we need to look at the goalie, I think. And I like Sam Erson. I'm on record as saying I like him. He's a great guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's just getting beat up now. 706 save percentage in that game. For the year, my contacts are drying up again. 846 save percentage. This is year 3 of Erson, really, because he played 12 games in the first season. It might just be time to say, hey, we got a problem here. This is a great guy. We want him to do well. It's just not working out. Because now you got to start thinking about Vladar, right? If he's clearly taken the job. When he needs a night off, you can't trust that Erson's going to be that he's going to be able to keep you in a game. This team especially, they're not going to play the St. Louis Blues every night. They're not going to be able to score 6 goals against the Dallas Stars, the Edmonton Oilers, whoever it is. The Flyers might need to start looking for a backup goalie here. And we're going to talk about the kids later on in the episode. But I think it's time to start ringing the alarm bell on Sam Erson. This is not the start you want. And he might be giving away an opportunity here. I think, how much more do they need to see,
For whatever reason, they still really like him. The teammates really like him, the way they talk about him, they defend him. But, even when he's looked good and he's got some 10-bell saves, he always seems to give up 3-4 goals in like a good performance. And like the Blues at the time, one of the worst teams in the league. It's early, but still, and he didn't look good at all. Like I
No.
think there was 3 goals he should have had back. 3. Yikes. That's rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he faced 30 plus shots, 17 shots.
Right. Jeez, the defense did enough.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that line a little bit more, because we know that the Flyers have one line. And I know some people are starting to say maybe they should break up the Cates, Forster, Brink line. And I think they did for a little while there. But maybe they found something else here. Maybe going forward, we see this line more often of Zegras, Dvorak, Tippett. You mentioned Tippett already, goal and 3 assists. I mean, hell of a way to bounce back from the mistake on whenever it was, Tuesday, Wednesday. But really what I want to talk about here is Trevor Zegras, who they need to sign, and Christian Dvorak, who may be better than we thought. Like, he looks like a legit, I don't want to say top 6, but he's a guy it looks like you can count on for offense, right?
So I think there's a strong argument to be made here that our 3 free agent acquisitions are the 3 best players on the team right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're the most skillful. I'm just saying results based and what they're here to do. Dvorak, Vladar, and Zegras have been the 3 best Flyers this season, and I don't know where this team would be right now without them. And it's one of those things where, like, are we in a situation with Dvorak? Like, if we're out of it, do you trade him because you can get whatever you can? Or if we're like in it and we keep him, but say we don't make the playoffs, if we're on the bubble or whatnot, is he a guy? Because he's a center, and it's not like we have a ton of centers or there's a ton available. Is he a guy you consider bringing back for another year or whatnot? At least early on, that's something to keep an eye on. He's a position that we need. He wins faceoffs, which is outside of Coots. Nobody else can really do. And he's very good defensively. He's good with other players that we like to see get going, like Mishkov and specifically Zegras. I mean, there's a lot to like there. I don't know what the money would be. I don't know what the years would be. It's a different conversation. But based on what I've seen this year, he's been everything he's been advertised and then some.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect 13 points in 18 games. That's for sure.
I didn't think he'd be much of a points guy at all, to be honest with you.
Career high in points is 38. And so he had 2 of his best offensive years with Tocchet in Arizona. I think Tocchet was coach for both of those seasons. Career high in goals is 18. Career high in points is 38. Currently has 6 goals, 13 assists. So, I mean, we'll see, man. But I guess what I'm saying here is they found something moving forward. And hopefully that line can stick together. A guy like Zegras and even Dvorak, it seems like they're both consistent, at least so far. Maybe pairing 2 consistent guys, and Dvorak's great because he can get back defensively and play that kind of game. Maybe 2 consistent guys help a guy like Tippett become more consistent.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see. I just want to see how it works out. Like, I hope it's not just a one and done type thing. Like, let's see.
Anything to get Tippett going to get him traded. And it's a good point by Vinit here on Dvorak. He's going to hit the free agency and be one of the top guys if he keeps going this way, based on how fast it dried up, and he's going to want a lot. So, and real quick, Zach comes in here. Rule 38.3, league-initiated challenge in the final minute of play of the 3rd period. There you go, final minute, not final 2. At any point in overtime, regular season, and playoffs, the NHL Situation Room will initiate the review of any scenario that would otherwise be subject to a coach's challenge. So there you go. It's in the rule book. So I guess we were under a minute. It was under 30 seconds, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
So, so totally legal. So just never saw it happen because we're the Flyers. So at least it's legal. I feel better about the integrity of the game. So Thank you for that, because they've been irking the shit out of me the last couple of years. So I'll take that. It's fine. As long as it's good.
Going back to the comment from Vinit, knowing this, that Dvorak's going to get paid, there's no way that they can keep him, right? Mm-hmm. They got to trade him at the deadline, right?
Yes. I mean, you already have too many forwards in general. I know he's a center. You don't have a lot of centers. But, they'll keep him if they're in a playoff race. They won't trade him at the deadline unless they're – I think they'd have to be way out of it. If they're even in
I don't
a
think
bubble,
they're going to be close.
You could be right. If that's the case, they'd need to move him because they're not bringing it back. You're not going to pay a guy like that when you have to pay other guys, and you're really looking for stars or close to it. He's not and you could probably get a decent draft pick. And I know they said we're not trading for draft picks, we're trading for players. Draft picks are universal currency. It's money. Like, it's asset money. Trade him for a first round pick or a late first round pick or an early second, whatever you can get if you have to, and then parlay that into something in the offseason. So, but yeah, I mean, but I do think if they're close, and we may not like it, if they're like 3 spots out, but the points are kind of close, I think they're gonna try for it. I don't think he's going anywhere, but if they're way out of it by then yeah.
Yeah, they I mean, at least they weren't fooling me with the we're not in the business of subtracting anymore. I'm like, but that 1 year $5 million deal says a little different there, doesn't it?
Right, and I don't think they thought he was going to be as good either. There you go, just kind of backing up what I said. Essentially, they're not going to do what they did 2 years ago, where they're way in it. They're in the playoffs, and they're trading Sean Walker. Like, they're not going to do that. They'll definitely keep Dvorak if they're in that scenario. But like you said, they might not be. They got to get some things going here, get some things fixed and handled, like the backup goalie.
I mean, they need to start winning games in regulation.
That's for sure. They need to shoot more. They need to score more goals. They need to stop getting off these slow starts. I wanted to go back and see how many times they gave up the first goal and like how many times they even just scored in the first period. I bet you like the last 6-7 games, 0. Like they really are taking their times getting going offensively. They had some low scoring affairs outside of the Blues. Like they're getting down in games and kind of having to crawl back. And now they're playing better teams and they're getting down like 4-0 before they even start to come back. They're just taking way too long to get going. And that's one thing I've always hated about the previous regimes and those years is they always took forever to get going. And a lot of their play it gets better as the game goes on, which is good, but they cannot get these slow starts, getting down in games. They cannot do that. They cannot.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, then the basically the scheduled L against Dallas, who I don't want to waste too much time talking about that game because I think I even called the score last show. I predicted a 4-1, 5-1 loss, and they lost 5-1. They were kind of sticking around, keeping it close, 1-0. I think at least through midway through the second or something like that. And then the doors kind of are getting blown off there a little bit. I think Jason Robertson, natural hat trick, which was good for one of my fantasy teams. But yeah, all right.
That was one of I almost fell asleep during that game.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a good night to do it. You probably would have been better off.
I probably would have been. That was a boring game. That was terrible.
Okay, and then here we are. Tuesday the 18th, on the third day of 4 days off. The Flyers are back home on the 20th, which is Thursday, against the St. Louis Blues. So a perfect chance to get back on track. And then they take on the Jack Hughes-less New Jersey Devils on Saturday, a big division game.
Wait, Jack Hughes is out again? Who'd have thought?
Caught his hand.
Saw that one? Who saw that one coming?
I mean, don't tell Tom.
Yeah,
I mean, but apparently it was a freak injury. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, apparently I think
just like all those goals,
they said that he leaned on a glass and the glass broke.
Oh wait, when Drew was golfing and the golf club spontaneously combusted in his hand. Yeah, sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
how injuries chase him around like goals against Chase Harrison around.
And I think Dougie Hamilton is out too. They weren't. I think it was a game time decision for tonight. But I guess what I'm getting at is the Devils have won 2 games since. Should be a game that they win Thursday.
Should be in it, yeah.
And then a big Metro Division game Saturday. Like if we're really gonna say, okay, the Metro's a dogfight, you got to win that game. And I think they play New Jersey well.
Usually.
We could spend some time on St. Louis, but we just expect them to win, right?
They should. Absolutely, they should. This one will be home, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be this, right? They're home, right?
Yeah, both home. Yeah.
Yeah. They should be home. They should handle them. It should be a regulation win, no doubt about it. They've had all these days off, which I don't understand. There was a little bit of a layoff last week. There's a bigger layoff this week, and we're in a Olympic year where games are going to be condensed. Somebody's doing something wrong. But either way, they're having these really tough practices. They're hitting each other. You saw, unfortunately, recently sent down Adam Ginning and Noah Juleson getting into it with Mishkov. Real physical play. Taka talked about that, and I agree with him. I don't have what he said verbatim, but you should never fight your teammate, literally fight them. But practices should be competitive. They should be throwing the body around a little bit. You don't want to hurt anybody. And it's going to make you, and I agree with this, it's going to make you better. It's going to make your teammate better. It's going to make your team better. And they should, if they have all these games off, they should be having hard practices. And spirited practices is the word I heard used. And if the way they've been playing, they need to have all the spirited practices they can get. They got to get the offense going again. They got to do what they do defensively. Villar's got to stay Villar. And I think they could come out of this week with 2 W's if they do it right. And they've had plenty of time off and plenty of solid, good practices and change some things with the lineup and hope for the best.
Yeah, they'll. I'm going to assume that Vladar gets
both games.
Both of those games, I would hope. Anyways,
he's far and away the starter. I mean, if he can handle it, by all means.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on a little bit here. I mean, things get a little nuts after those 2 games. The Flyers go on a 4-game road trip to round out November. And then in December, they have 15 games in 31 days. And they have a few days off during Christmas week. So it's going to be every other night for the Flyers for about a month.
So glad we had, 5 days in between the Stars game and 6 games, 6 days off. Like,
it's going to be a real test. Like, because right now they look like, maybe they can be a decent team.
Oof.
But when the going gets tough here, it's going to really, we'll see what they're made of.
Yeah, I hope that Vladar can hold up because he's going to be one of the biggest reasons if they're playing. And he's going to have to play a lot. We'll see with Urson, but he's going to be huge because they're just not scoring right now. And I'm not counting that Blues game as, they came out of their scoring slump. I'm like, that was the Blues. Again, it was one line. I need to see everybody start to chip in here.
Well, let's move on a little bit here. So the Phantoms, 9-4-1-1 so far this year, and they look great. They have different guys stepping up every night. But in particular, the 2 guys I want to talk about tonight, Alex Bump, who's been on a hot streak here, 13 points in 15 games after sort of a slow start. The game's slowing down for him, and you could see it while he's out there. It's like everyone's moving in slow motion when he's got the puck. And also Alexei Kolosov, who is playing very well. Let me get his numbers up real quick here. But while I do that, let's talk about Alex Bump, Jack. Does he get a call up? Is he playing that well, or would you let him cook?
I think ultimately, unless there's some kind of injury, like Forrester blocking shots, hurting himself, something like that, I think you let him cook. I don't know where he plays. They got wingers for days. I don't know where he plays to begin with. And I think the Flyers want to see the consistency in his play. He's had runs, but like, how consistent can he be with these runs? Is he always going to be this good, or is he just on a bit of a hot streak right now? I think he is, at least at the AHL level, this good. I say you let him cook a little bit. If an injury pops up, this way you don't force him into the lineup. You know him sitting. If there's an injury, he for sure gets called up and gets some playing time. But to just force him into the lineup, I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
I know you're looking for goal scoring. I get that. But I don't think you should force your hand there. There's no reason, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then, so let's move on to the big question mark here. We talked about Urson. Talked about how he's just not playing up to the level that he needs to play up to and hasn't for a few years now. Alexei Kolosov, well documented, just a horrid year last year, 8.84 save percentage down in Lehigh Valley. And then with the Flyers at 8.67, never looked comfortable, 3.59 goals against average. I was even wondering if this kid was if he was built to play in North America. Maybe he was just more comfortable in the KHL. Comes into this year, it seems like he's reset. The Flyers have more of a plan of what they want to do in goal. Traded Ivan Fedotov, gave the keys to the Phantoms to Kolosov and Bjarnason, and that tandem seems to be getting it done. It's like every other night, one of them's putting up decent numbers here. And for the season, Kolosov's at 2.49 goals against average and a 9.16 save percentage. So that's up almost 30 points, almost 40 points from last season. Looks comfortable. Is this a guy that we consider calling up or the Flyers consider calling up during, this next month and a half where they have a game literally every other night?
Yeah, I mean, outside of somebody getting hurt, I don't see it happening unless Urson really falls off a cliff and every game's bad. He's getting pulled. If you're in a situation like that where he's getting pulled, but other than that, I just the way it is with goalies, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Not November, maybe even not in December, but after that, we'll see. I think the way that they envision things is they want to see as much as Urson as they can, for good or for bad. So outside of a colossal collapse for him, I don't think we're going to see Kolosov yet. Not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to see it yet.
All right, so I'll kind of take the devil's advocate there. I don't have the Phantom schedule up, so obviously that's important to have. Well, here we are. We are November 18th. We have the 2 games at home. Okay, give them to Vladar, right? Or maybe even give the 20th to Urson. Let him get back on track at home against the Blues, and you save New Jersey and start Vladar for the 4-game road trip. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is the road trip, you got 4 games and 6 nights there. Okay. And then we open up December, and it gets a little nuts after those first 2 games, right? That's 8 games in 14 days there, I think. Back-to-back Vancouver, Chicago, who Chicago's playing very well. Vancouver's going to probably play Tocchet a little tough. You have some division games mixed in there. You got the Montreal game. San Jose was playing well. You got Colorado on a Sunday, 1 o'clock. Flyers are always fantastic during the day games. You got Vegas, Carolina for Saturday, Sunday, back-to-back. I mean, how many games does Urson get here? Does he get the minimum 2? Is Dan Vladar playing 6, 7 of these games?
I think there's a chance. I think he gets 2 or 3, maybe 3. He gets all the back-to-backs, so he'll get some time in, and maybe they throw him in there for 1, especially if he gives them a good performance. They always like to kind of roll him out there again, something like that, dependently. As far as the Phantom schedule, I looked it up. They have like all back-to-backs. Like they play on the 19th of November. They play the 21st to 22nd. They play the 28th to 29th. They play the 5th and 6th and 7th of December. Like that's wild. That's 3 games in a row. Like, yeah, and they play the 12th and the 13th. So I don't know how easy they feel about willy-nilly shipping Kolosov around if they got nothing but back-to-backs too. So just something to consider. I think that it's still early enough in the season, and we're still, as much as the front office will say otherwise, I think we're still on a fact-finding mission, and a lot of part of that is Urson. He is just the guy he was 2 years ago is night and day different from what we're seeing today, but the front office and his teammates still have his back. And if it was a little shaky there, maybe we're talking about something different, but it's in the body language, it's in what they say. They come to his defense a lot. I don't think they are even considering it, to be honest with you, at this time. Now, a really, really bad performance where he's pulled, maybe that starts things going, but we haven't seen that yet. We're just seeing a lot of, some of our issues we've had with him in the past. Something to consider. I would love to see Kolosov because he is a prospect and he's playing so well this year. I would love to see him get into a game. I just don't see it happening yet.
I'm wondering. So I'm trying to be a little funny here. When the Flyers need to score some goals, maybe they give Urson a game, right? Because they couldn't score goals. I mean, how many times have they scored 5 goals this year? All of a sudden they're losing to St. Louis. It's like, oh shit, we have to score some goals if we want to get some points out of this one. Let's throw Sam Urson in goal. Let's break out of our slump here. I just honestly, I'll never root against the guy, but I don't have. It's starting to be like, wow, this guy's not really snake bitten. He's just not very good.
Yeah, it's like you can watch games, and I said this earlier, where he's good, and you're like, yeah, but he still gave up 4 goals, and you say that a lot about him.
Yeah,
like he played well, but he still gave up 4 goals, and then there's games where he didn't play well, and he gives up 5 goals. And it's tough because at the end of the day, he's definitely a backup. Those starter days, I think, are long gone. You never know. Goalies take forever, figure something out, whatever. But as it looks right now, and everybody they have coming up, like Kolosov's playing well, Bjarnas is playing well, and we're not even talking about Zavragan yet. Like, I just don't see a spot for Urson at this time. Vladar is the guy. You got him for 2 years. He's the guy I see them coming along with whatever prospect they want to play with. So outside of Erson turning things around in a tremendous way, I just don't see. I don't see it. He just feels like a guy.
In 6 games this year, he's had a save percentage over 900 one game. In 6 games, he's had a save percentage over 800 in 3 games. That's half the time under 800. Under
800. And you're a team that said you want to attract free agents. You can't, and it was a backup, but you can't have a goalie putting up those kind of numbers. And it's him. It's not his team in front of him. Can't use that excuse anymore. It's him. It is. We've seen these games. He gives up bad goals. Yeah, sure. Sometimes he looks good, but he gives up a lot of bad goals, and it's starting to really compile. And it's a shame because he was so good 2 years ago for a good chunk of time. But now the sample size is the other way. It's no longer was he so good. What was that? 2024, 25 or 23, 24. Now there's more games on the other end where his career save percentage is what? 870, like something stupid. Like that's just not NHL numbers, even as a backup.
Hang on, I'll look because I would, if we want to put a wager, I would even gamble that it's lower at this point.
Probably went for career.
Yeah, for career. All right, you're right. It's 886, so it's over 870.
Okay, a little bit better.
But I would have bet that it was
because
under the way
it's been so recency bias. But there's a lot more of those kind of games. That first years was keeping that at 886. He was so good for a good so it's such a long chunk in that almost playoff year. But the last 2 years have been yikes. And he can't even blame injuries this time. He's been healthy.
Yeah, so they say. You did miss time, but they never really came out and said it. But I would bet large sums of money that it was a groin.
Well, if that's a reoccurring issue, because that seems to be what it always is with him, that's a problem.
I guess long story short, it might be time to move on. It just feels like it at this point, right?
Hey, wherever Tippett goes, he can go with him.
There you go. Maybe Buffalo needs another goalie. All right, let me get this off the screen real quick here. Okay. All right, and we talked about Alex Bump as well. I'm with you there. Let him cook. Let the Phantoms have success. Let them build. It's not. I mean, he's 13 points in 15 games, so he's getting better. He's putting up multi-point games every other game now. Barkey's playing better as well. I want to see the Phantoms have a playoff run. Yeah. I want to see those guys gel together. And then I want to see them, look, in a perfect world, if it doesn't happen, I don't care. I want to see them called up together, let them build all that together. And then when they get here, they have those bonds formed. They have that winning culture down in Lehigh that they can carry with them into the NHL. Because there's something cooking down there for sure in Lehigh. And, let them experience that. I don't think you need to rush them. And I know the goal is to play in the NHL. But especially with the roster the Flyers have right now, where there's not necessarily a spot, I don't think you need to rush them in. So I would agree.
That's what it is. But this all points to whether it's this season or whatever, they got to trade some guys. Tippett obviously comes to mind because of the plethora because you got Martone coming too. So you're going to fit Bump, Martone, Luchenko, like Grabenkin sticking around. Like you're going to fit all these guys coming up and fighting for spots. Where's TK going anywhere? Michkov's not going anywhere. Zegras is going to be here to stay. Sure as hell better be. Like, who you moving out? Who made Tyson Forrester? I don't think so. Brink. Everybody loves Brink. Like it makes you have way too many wingers. If Zegras isn't a center, he goes to wing. Martone's a wing. Bump's a wing. Somebody's got to go, and they got to go soon. All signs point to Tippett. I know they with that contract and this many years, it could look like a real steal. And I'm sorry, he's too much of what do they call that? A
point scorer.
But he's like a hot commodity, like something you don't really need, but you want. Like it'll come to me. He's a kind of player that isn't to your foundational core. He's a player you kind of add later when you need to score goals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not somebody I think that you're going to get into the playoffs with. I think he's a guy when he's more polished, you kind of trade for when you want to get over the hump. If he's even that guy, we don't even know if he's that guy. We think he can be that guy, you know. But how long are we going to wait for? Are we going to keep all these guys in the AHL waiting for it to happen? What happens when Martone's here next year? Because look how good he's looked. He's going to be here next year. He can play right now in the NHL. He's going to be here next year. So what's your lines look like then? Like, you gonna sign anybody for agency? Like, you're gonna make any trades because you have to. It just makes too much sense. They got to do something, and he makes too much sense to be moved. I mean, I don't. What you're gonna move Brink? Brink's done everything you've asked of him and more. You know, you move Forrester. Forrester's got a lethal shot. They love what they see in Forrester. You're not going to trade anybody who's not here yet. You can trade Bump. You haven't even seen him yet. Come on. All signs point to it.
I don't know if I agree, but listening. I mean, sure you convinced some people. I mean, I don't think there's anybody to convince. I'm sure most of the chat agrees with you there.
So give me the devil's advocate or your opinion on like what do you do going forward? Like, who do you just don't move anybody? Like, I mean, you got way too many wingers. You got to keep everybody with the fan. Like, Martone's not playing with fans. Martone's going to play with Flyers. I mean, unless you think he doesn't make it out of camp and he spends a little bit of time, you think he's going to stay down there? I mean, I think he could play with the Flyers right now.
It's a tough thing. Like, they have a lot of wings. We've never seen Bump play in the NHL.
We may never if we keep all these wingers up here.
So, what I'm saying is, we think that we have a replacement for Tippett with Bump because he's playing well in the AHL, played well in college last year. In preseason, he struggled. Right? So I don't know.
Start to get things going. It's not just for Bump; it's for somebody. I could put like 5 different names into one spot with the team. That's the problem. It's not that we need to fit all these guys. We need to fit just one of them. I mean, there's a lot of wingers on this team, and none of them, unfortunately, can play center or win faceoff. So it's like, what do you do? And again, if Zegras can't play center, that's another winger now.
Well, winger. My thing with Zegras is they have him on the lineup card. They have him on the wing when he plays with Dvorak, but like, if you watch the games, he's not necessarily playing the wing. He's playing all over the ice. Just I guess because Dvorak's taking faceoffs, they figure, we'll pencil in Dvorak.
But Dvorak's not going to be here next year, so then what do you do?
There you go. You got a space.
You need a center, though. I mean, I understand that you kind of put these guys in and they kind of rotate around. They're more so just forwards. But even then, you got too many forwards. You need centers. You do need a center. You cannot just skate by with no centers. And Dvorak was a nice, Band-Aid for this season. And I understand, like, Zegras may not be winning you faceoffs, but he can do the offensive things. And he's been better defensively as well. But, like, you still need an actual center. I don't think you can just throw a bunch of wingers out there and hope they make it happen. And at the end of the day, you got too many forwards. And you got guys coming you want to see, guys you use major draft assets on. 6th overall. I mean, even down the road, you got Nesbitt. Tippett signed for 7 more years. Like, you got guys that they're going to want to come up and see at the forward position. Somebody's got to get moved out. And again, if you're trying to get top talent in here, you're trying to attract, whether it be free agents or guys you trade for and want to stay long term, you're going to have to get them somehow. They're not going to come for free. So you're going to have to trade something. Mm-hmm. So all signs to me, you save a lot of cap too.
I mean, to me, this is one
luxury.
Of those things
That's what he is.
Do.
Sorry, real quick. That's what Tippett is. He's a luxury because of the style of game he plays, where he cannot score and take games off and whatnot like that. Now, could you be missing out on something if he develops into a player who's more consistently? Of course, but that's the risk you take.
Well, like, to me, this is one of the things that fans do, right? It's like, oh, well, we really need this player. We really need that player. Who do we like the least that we can trade for?
Well, that's a value thing at that point. Yeah. I'm always the one to be like, yeah, well, he's got to play a little bit well for you to get something for him there. So,
like, if you can find a GM like the one that Buffalo has, maybe you can, sneak a fastball by him or something there.
Danny got Zegras in here for pretty cheap.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Sabotaging his career. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that there's going to have to be a trade somewhere. And if they can bring in a top 6 center, or a top 4, top pair D, something like that, and Tippett has to be involved, do it. If I'm the other team, like it may look. I don't know. If they give up Tippett, depending on what position comes back, it's going to be more than Tippett to get what they're talking about.
Absolutely, and it should be. I think they have assets to move. They have first-round picks. They have other prospects they can move. They have other goalie prospects they could consider moving. I'm not talking about Urson. It's not going to be just Tippett for something. And I've come to terms with that a long time ago. Plus, he's got a big cap, decently capped now. With the cap going up, it's not as bad, but it's still a big size number in years attached to him. So you're really like buying this player and sticking with this player for a long term if you buy in. And somebody's gonna like him. I've already heard that certain teams like his skill set. Maybe he's a big guy who's fast, who has all the skill in the world. You just got to get it together upstairs.
A weird team that I heard was looking at him was the Los Angeles Kings, and I'm wondering if the injury to Drew Doughty kind of puts the kibosh on that, because I don't think they know how long he's going to be out. Yeah, they just locked up Kempe, so I don't know, maybe they're just doing their due diligence or something. But we know that Danny's got a connection with them.
Yeah.
Who was the Russian guy they traded last year?
Damn it, one they got from Calgary.
Yeah, Kovalenko. No, not Kovalenko.
Kuchenko. Alex. Oh my God! Somebody will say it for us. Kuzmenko. There it is. We got our Kuzes and our Menkos, and we got
the Steetsons. Yeah, that's funny, dude.
But also the Sean Walker deals with LA, and there's what's his name out there. I have him in fantasy. Of course, I'm gonna forget his name. He's been a guy that's been apparently they've been iffy with. He's an offensive defenseman, though. He could be a name. I don't know how interested they would be, but he would definitely be a name. I will give it to you in 1 second.
Clark?
Yeah, Brant Clark. Thank you. Yeah. So there's been issues with him, but I mean, with Doughty hurt, he's going to play plenty. But it's just a name that's been, I don't want to say unhappy, but he's been floated in rumors for a while, as well as also the center, who always come back to him as well. Byfield,
yeah, I think he's kind of coming out this year.
Oh, well, I think he was coming out a little bit last year, so I don't know. That's probably off the table now. So.
The ship has sailed, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I would have loved Byfield. So, all right. I mean, where are we? How much time we got left in the show here? A couple minutes left here. We looked ahead a little bit. Where's the topic list? There was Flyers made a trade.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't really know much about this guy, but I know that he was 5 years younger than Dennis Gilbert, and he's putting up decent numbers in the AHL. So there's kind of a theme here that Briere's looking for with defense. He's looking for younger, right-handed puck-moving D, whereas Gilbert was more of a big body, banger guy you put out on the PK, obviously dropped the mitts, yada, yada. A couple weeks ago, goes out and trades for Christian Kyrou, who has 9 points in the 7 games he's been with the Phantom, which is wild, outstanding. Yeah. You got to wonder, what
does Danny see?
Is this a guy that maybe is considered for the Flyers in a year or two? He's only 22 years old, Kyrou, but 9 points in 7 games as a defenseman.
They take longer to develop too, and maybe he got him at the right time in the right system. You got to give Snowden some credit down there in Lehigh. He's got everybody playing well. I don't know. It's something that just let it cook and consider. He basically walks right into the Andre role and has been great for them. Another reason why aren't they like the 5th best team in the league, and they're in a real tough division or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, they're playing really well. So this guy, I don't even know how to say his first name, Maxence.
Oh, yeah. I heard it said earlier today, and I was like, I'm not going to remember that.
So I'm just going to call him Max.
Maxie.
This guy's 24 years old. So, this is like prime age for a young D to get going here. Doesn't look like he's played this year. I didn't see anything about him being hurt. So I have to assume healthy scratch. Maybe if anyone in the chat has heard anything or watched the Belleville Senators up there. But yeah, puts up points in the AHL, 23 and 58 games last year, 36 and 58 the year before. and a 40-point season back in 2022-23. Was drafted in the 7th round of the 2019 NHL entry draft. And look, if nothing else, it's a really good piece for the Phantoms. I think as soon as the trade happened, they signed him to a 1-year, 2-way contract. So it's this is a guy they want to, I think stick around with Lehigh. We'll see if he's around after this year, but a guy that could help them. And they're looking for a right shot, puck moving D.
Big boy.
Yeah. So interesting.
Apparently requested a trade from Ottawa. Hey, why not? It's not like the guy I can't even think of his name, Dennis Gilbert, right? Like he was a guy that you thought would be pushing for NHL time, even in a 7th role, and he just was not that. So we gave up nothing. We brought that guy in free agency, bring in this guy, see what you got there. And right-handedness is obviously a rarity, so I'll take it. I kind of joked about it on Twitter. It's big, kind of a nothing burger, but at the same time, young guy, why not? It's kind of like a free asset. What's the worst that can happen? He doesn't do anything for the Phantoms. Okay, we move on. So I like these. The Danny's always moving and shaking things, like trying to get better everywhere he can. I don't remember seeing a whole lot of that with Fletcher and Hextall and even Holcomb, to be honest with you. Like I don't remember them making trades all throughout their organizational depth. Because look at Kyrou, like he's really exciting right now, and ultimately maybe nothing comes of it, but at least they tried. At least they maybe could get themselves an asset of some kind. Whether they do finally make a big trade and we lose somebody, you have a replacement for that somebody you lost or something of that nature. So just for that alone, I got to give Danny some credit as he just torpedoes his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the 4th significant AHL trade he's made. Tucker Robertson he was hot for like a week back there. They got him from the Kraken for John Randall Avon.
Oh yeah, J.R. Avon, yeah.
That's
right.
So Robertson 6 points, 9 games, and then they got that Grunstrom guy and the Ryan Ellis deal, and
that's something.
Even the other guy that came over for him, I think,
played
a cup of coffee with the Phantoms there. So. Yeah. He's not just making moves to make moves. Like he's got a plan here. So interesting to see. And this Tucker Robertson guy, look, he's not a perfect player, former 4th round pick, but I could see him being, called up for a cup of coffee. I like watching him play. There's a bunch of guys down there that, they got something cooking, man.
They're a good team, but for so many years they were just trugging through, and they're a good team with a lot of good options, and it's exciting. It's nice to see. Plus, give them a winning mentality. Give these prospects a winning mentality. Come up to the Flyers, keep that winning mentality. Hopefully, keep it rolling.
All right. Speaking of winning mentality, we're going to wrap this one up. But the Flyers have the Blues Thursday, Devils on Saturday. Jack, what's the record?
I'll go 1-0-1. I think they definitely beat the Blues again, which they should, and I think maybe they fall to the Devils in the overtime, not a shootout. They'll win a shootout. I'll say in overtime. Some BS happens, and they wind up in overtime.
I'm going to say they go 1-1, but I'm going to say they have one of those losses against St. Louis that gets everyone up in arms again. Twitter's on fire, and then they come out Saturday and they beat the division-leading New Jersey Devils before they go on their little road trip there.
If they lose to the Blues, people are going to be pissed. They're going to be talking about Mishkov's ice time, Tockett's system, lack of shots.
Owen Tippett sucks.
Oh, that's a guarantee. He's the new whipping boy. Certain people are going to catch their regular flack, and they're going to talk about the line combinations. They're going to talk about getting Grabenkin on a different line. They're going to all sorts of stuff. It's going to be wild.
Blues are tied 2-2 with Toronto right now. Is Toronto even good anymore?
Their GM just came out. I don't know if it was yesterday or today. And basically, and he was like, "Hey, we're not where we envisioned we'd be right now," like something like that. There's a whole press conference. I only heard like a couple lines, but it wasn't a good one. That's for sure.
I wonder if Briere.
I think Matthews is still hurt.
Hires Berube.
Oh yeah, they would have hired. Yeah, they'll fire Tocchet and just get Berube.
Yeah,
1 year in. Yeah, something I would do in NHL for sure. And the only other thing I have to add, Jim, is we had a Bonk and Risto sighting.
We don't even need to trade for a defenseman. I forgot we had Ristolainen.
There you go. You're right. He's. I don't know how long it's going to be. Thought I heard something. He might have tweaked his hand while he was out there skating or something. Nothing serious, but He's still on the timeline that we were given. I think they said late November, early December. To me, it's more like early December, mid-December. But look, we have a sighting. He was skating, not with the team, just by himself. Bonk as well. Something I heard about Bonk is he was up skating with the team, and it was like a reward for everything he put in the work to come back from the injury or something. But just to add him to that Phantoms team, that'd be pretty sweet too, because that's who he's going to be with. So yeah, these guys should be coming back. Bonk's weird. Remember, it was like, I think it was training camp. Like he might have played the rookie game. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
And then he was, it's not that serious, and he hasn't played since.
Yeah.
So I've got to see him go. Former first-round pick, baby. Got to see him going.
Yep. All right, boys and girls, that's going to wrap up the show for the week. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed our episode, make sure to subscribe and help us on our quest for 2,000 YouTube subscribers. I think we're close to hitting 1,800. Do us a favor, like and leave a comment. We're trying to hit 50 likes for the episode, so if you could help us reach our goal, it'd be much appreciated. You can listen to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Set alerts so you're the first to know when we drop new shows. And for all of our latest episodes, you can find it right here on YouTube. For Jack, I'm Jim.
Jim, real quick, we're going to give everybody some time to hit the like button. And while they do that, I'm going to do the read.
Go ahead, real quick.
All right, guys, quick timeout, because if you're a diehard Philly fan, you need to hear about this. Fans of Philly is the ultimate way to hit the road with the Birds, the Flyers, the Phillies, or even the Sixers. We're talking full travel packages, your hotel, your transportation, and yes, the tailgates that are basically legendary at this point. All taken care of for you. No stress, no scrambling for tickets, no worrying about where you're staying. You just show up, throw on your jersey, and enjoy the ride with fellow diehard Philly fans. So whether it's flying out to see the Eagles take over an opponent's arena, cheering on the Flyers in enemy territory, or making it a full weekend getaway for your Phillies and Sixers games, Fans of Philly has you covered. Trust me, this is the closest you'll feel to feeling like one of the players themselves as they roll into town, because the takeover is real. So check them out Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and start planning your Phillies road trip today. That's Fans of Philly, fansofphilly.com, where every away game feels like a home game.
Great stuff, Jack. Thank you for the read. For Jack, I'm Jim. We'll catch you all next time. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.